The budget is done. So excited, so excited. So now we can answer questions. Um, okay, so Charity, and these are questions from the last one, but guys, feel free to drop questions in this one, and once I get finished with the last video, then I will answer questions from this one. So Charity said, currently I'm doing my budget. Hi there, my name is Stacey Flowers, and I'm a student of Dave Ramsey's Financial Peace University. I'm on a journey to become 100% debt free. I am on baby step number 2. I have $160,000 to go. I work for myself part-time, and this month's income is $5,000. Right now, I am doing a Q&A for the Budget With Me Live. So if you're interested in that, please keep watching. Okay. So Charity says, currently I'm doing my budget in a journal. How long did it take for you to move to a budget planner? I did a budget planner immediately. What tends to happen when we just do our budget in a journal is that we're not actually budgeting. We are just documenting our expenses. And documenting your expenses are not the same thing as budgeting. Budgeting is when you actually do the math and the mental and emotional work to make your money do what you want it to do. And so sometimes without these boxes and these categories, what we'll do is we'll be like, oh, well, I wrote all of my expenses down and this is how much everything costs. That's not a budget. A budget is saying, this is how much money I make. This is where I'm choosing to spend my money. And this is how much I have left over. So this is what I'm going to do with this additional amount that I have, right? Like it's psychologically walking through, this is what I have coming in. This is what I have going out. This is why I have it going out. And so I would recommend moving to budgeting forms as soon as possible. I like the Dave Ramsey forms because they're zero-based budget forms, which means that the point of these forms is to get your budget to equal zero. The reason why that's important is because you are literally spending every single dollar that you earn in the month, each and every single month. And it sounds bad to spend every single dollar that you earn, except for when you understand, like sometimes you can spend that dollar on savings, you can spend that dollar on debt, you can spend that dollar wherever, because what tends to happen is we don't mentally spend every single dollar that we earn. We do these calculations in our head and we're like, oh, well, I spent $50 at this store. I probably have like $100 left over. And then we end up going over budget, having overdraft fees and all that other stuff. A zero-based budget prevents all that from happening. So highly recommend. Tyree said, your nails look good. Are you getting gel? So no, these are shellac. This is a shellac manicure. But thank you very much. That's different than gel. Thank you very much. This seemed the coolest life said, this seems so hard, but I'm going to do this for my sanity. Yes, it is very hard. I highly encourage anybody who's joining my journey now, like, go back and watch my first videos. These videos used to take me, 3 hours to get through these videos? The only reason it takes me 90 minutes is because I've been doing it for 27 months. It takes a long time to shift your mind into an accounting mind frame. It takes a long time to sift through the emotions of what comes up when you actually look at what you spend your money on versus how much you make. It takes a long time to face yourself. And what Dave Ramsey says is it takes about 3 months before you actually ever do your budget correct. And I think it maybe took me 6 months before I did a correct budget. So yeah, it takes some time. So be kind to yourself. The idea is just no matter what, just keep doing it. Even if the budget sucks, just keep doing it. I think one of the things that sets me apart in the budgeting community is that I don't just do a budget, I also do a budget report card. So I spend the end of the month reflecting on what I did what I said I was going to do at the beginning of the month, and that's really where I'm able to fine tune a lot of things. That's how I was able to really connect with the emotions that were driving really piss poor behavior. So I also recommend that as well. TC Life said non-financial victories. Yes. Non-financial victories indeed. Lily Natural One said, what insurance do you have? So I have insurance. I have health coverage, which I think is different than health insurance. And my health coverage is through Christian Financial Ministries. It is different in the sense that it's almost like an insurance sharing program as opposed to insurance coverage program. So, but Christian Healthcare Ministries is where my insurance coverage is through. Probably by the end of this year, I will be looking into different types of insurances because The people that I have on my team now are not official employees of my team. But to convert them into employees, like that's something that I'll have to think about, is like covering their insurances and stuff. And so when I get there, should be interesting. Let's see. MC says, Stacey, do you use cashback apps? No, I don't really participate in a lot of things where like you get cashback or you get discounts or you get coupons. I find that for me, it ends up encouraging spending, and I don't really want to spend. I guess I'm signed up for cashback on my debit card. Or is that cash? Yeah, I think I'm signed up for cashback on my debit card. So there's so many expenses that I can do on my debit card where I'll get some sort of cashback. But I don't intentionally like do cash apps and like stuff like that, because it's a distraction for me. I'm very easily distracted when it comes to stuff like that. That's why I also resisted doing using the Every Dollar app, because it's so pretty that I was just like, I'm not going to do this budget for real. This is too pretty. So no. I do Uber quite a lot, and so I have been getting like Uber rewards and stuff like that, but it still doesn't change the fact that it's double what it used to cost me on Thursday to go to therapy. Evolution Mama TV said, thank you for sharing your perspective. I cannot stop crying because I so want to share this with my ex-husband, but he would never go for it. It's sad and it's hard and it fuels me to be better. I'm not for sure specifically what you're referring to, but maybe when I go up, it'll share. Lily Natural One said, what are your thoughts on paying child support as a woman, the stigma? Oh yeah, it's a whole stigma. I think one of the beautiful things that has happened in this journey, and I was just on a podcast and somebody talked about how sometimes God will give you a project. God will tell you to do something, right? Like God will be like, document your financial journey from the beginning. And you will think that you are doing that project because, you know, God wants to elevate your brand or God wants to send you no, like you'll think you're doing it for some other reason, right? Like God will give you an idea, he'll just tell you to do something, and then you'll implement it and you think you're doing it for another reason. But what you'll actually end up doing it for is to heal yourself. So when I was on this podcast, this woman was talking about how she had created this other podcast that she thought was going to be about a whole nother topic. And when it finally came down to like putting it out there and doing all the things, it just never caught fire. Like it just never sort of really turned into what she wanted it to turn into. And so what she realized was that all of that work was designed to heal her, so that she could do the work that she's doing now with this new podcast that she created, that she was interviewing me on. So I say all that to say, what I have found in documenting my financial journey is that this was God's way to heal some stuff. Oh, we about to cry. This was God's way to heal some stuff in my life that I didn't even know bothered me, right? Like I didn't know that I was carrying so much stuff about my sister who passed away, and that was tied to my finances. I didn't know that I was carrying shame and guilt and like disgust in myself for how I was or was not showing up with my son. And to your question about what are my thoughts on paying child support as a woman and the stigma, like my thoughts in the beginning were like, this is embarrassing, but I rather embarrass myself and take care of my child than try to save face and not do anything for my child. But now I'm at the point in this journey where I've been doing it where it's just like, even though there's a stigma associated with being a woman and not having your child full time, if anything, the healing that I've gone through makes me want to stand in my decision to have my son raised by his father full time louder and more prouder than I've ever been in my entire life. Because we made that decision years ago, but it is only now that I am proud of it. It is, I made the best right decision for my child, and that is evident in his personality, in his temperament, in his ability to secure a full ride scholarship despite how many injuries. Like my son is fantastic. He is a spectacular human being, and I'm not saying that because I'm his mom. I'm saying that because the way we chose to raise him, with me being willing to be stigmatized, or me being willing to make the sacrifices as a woman so that my son could have something that a lot of black and brown boys don't have. Like, I don't care. Stigmatize me. I don't care. My kiddo is fantastic, and that's what this whole thing is about. And so I think that the stigma is there because there's this idea that like this is what you do as a mom and there's only one way to be a mom. But what I'm learning is that the best way to be a mom is to be the mom that you believe that you're supposed to be. And given the circumstances and the situation and all of that stuff that I was in, I made the best decision for my son. And so it doesn't, even though I know in society it's a stigma, for me it doesn't feel like a stigma. It's like, this is what it means to be a mom. Being a mother is all about sacrifice. Being a mom is all about being like, I'm gonna give you my breast to nurse you and feed you, right? Like, being a mom is so sacrificial. And for me, this choice, after me and my son's father realized that we were not gonna be married and we were not gonna give him a 2-parent home, me making this sacrifice and me making this choice is the best right decision for my child. So if anything, it reflects more of the depth of my motherhood than me choosing to keep him with me and him not being able to have that space with his father, based off what I believe like my responsibility is as a mom. So it's like, yes, there's stigma, but it's like I don't feel it as much because there's been so much healing in me just being able to be honest about it, and me just being able to be like, hey, I sent him $50 this month. Hey, I only saw him once this week. There's been so much healing and so much healing and so much understanding for the experience that a lot of other single parents have. So I hope that answers your question. There's stigma, but do it anyway. Like, there's stigma that people gonna talk about you no matter what you do. Even if I had my son, people would be like, oh, well, he's not wearing the latest, greatest this. It's like, it doesn't matter. Like, people are gonna judge the way you do the thing that you're doing. So do the thing that you're doing with your full-blown integrity and heart, and it'll all work out in the end. TC Life, having watched my sister having begged is even court ordered amount. Okay, yes. So having watched my sister having to beg for even the court ordered amount, I understand as much as I can. Yeah, like, that's the thing. Like, child support is not, don't do anything else for your kid because you're paying this. It's like, that's the bare minimum is what child support is. Bare minimum, in my opinion. MLD Shelly 12. Yes, I do not get child support or any additional financial support, but I agree 100%. If roles were reversed with my teen's father, then I would do what you're doing, Stacey. Yeah, like, teenagers are rough. Like, I had guardianship of my niece for 2 years, and that was very, 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 very hard. Very hard. And yeah, like, I will be my son's mom for the rest of his life. I am responsible for him. It doesn't matter that his father can. That's not the point. What someone else can do doesn't dictate what you're supposed to do. You are supposed to do based off of who you are, not based off what somebody else does. So it's not supposed to be like, oh, well, this person took care of it, I don't have to do anything. No. That just means your son gets double, maybe, right? Like, if you don't have a good enough relationship to where you're not duplicating things, it's just like, you don't get to get credit for what the other parent did. Like, you still got to do your own lifting, do your own thing. So yeah. Thankfully, me and my son's father are in a place where we don't end up doing double, but you get my point. It's like, yeah. Evolution Mama said, hold on. Just Joey said, I think people don't get this. I'm glad you said that. I am that child who lived with one parent but was supported by the other financially with child support and in other ways. Yeah, you get to forge an actual relationship with your parent because they're not like, well, I sent the money, that's it, it's a wrap. It's like, no, I sent the money and here are all of the other things that we get to do together because you're my child and I love you. So, yep. TC Life said, don't forget spending money. I'm okay with not having spending money this month just because, like, it'll end up being spending money when I'm in my hometown. Within that budget, I'll do some light spending there. So, but thank you. Evolution Mama said, yes, thank you so much. I wish more non-custodial parents understood that. I have 5 children and their father does not contribute anything outside of what is court ordered. It really sucks. Yeah, being a parent is a lot, guys. Like, it is, parenthood is intense. Like, it is a very big deal, and it's more than just child support. Yeah. T. Haleyard said, yes, please have this discussion. Even folks who are the custodial parents need to hear this. It changes expectations and only supports your children to be the best. Yep. MC said, woo, you said it, a teenager's attitude alone. Yeah, like, I don't have to deal with my son's attitude in the morning. Like, imagine waking up with an almost 18-year-old dude who is just attitude for no reason, and you still got to go to work. That is stressful. That is stressful. The coolest life said, I don't know if I'm the only 20 something here, but I'm learning so much. Yay! That's good. Don't go into debt, 20 something. Do not. Robin Thornton Peak. No, Stacey, most people can't imagine that because most non-custodial parents aren't like that. You are an exceptional person. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. April J says, Susie Orman says, people first, then money, then things. People means you also. Indeed. Thank you very much for that. I do like that part of Susie Orman's philosophy. People first, then money, then things. Yeah. Crystal B said, glad you have such a great co-parenting relationship. Yes, we do. We have gone through the fire and we are in a great co-parenting relationship now. Don't let that confuse you. Don't let that make you think that it was always awesome. No. We had to work to get here. Sherelle Johnson said, it's amazing that you helped to reduce the burden of him caring full-time for your son. Great way to partner together. Yep. Abigail, I love that you respect your son and his father enough to do more than child support. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, we're 1,000% co-parents. Barbara said, you're probably stressing over the clothes more than your sons. Probably. You're right. You're right. MC said, what are your budgetings for plane tickets? So sometimes if I get it enough in advance, a round trip to Omaha can be like 102. But if I don't get it enough in advance, I can just take Megabus and it's like $20, maybe $37 sometimes round trip. So it just depends. Now that I know what I budgeted for, I'll go ahead and look up to see if I can find a round trip plane ticket. I prefer to fly, which is not something that I used to prefer, but I prefer to fly. But if I can't find it in budget, then I'll go ahead and take the bus. Nicole Peterson said, go see him. May is a bit far. Indeed. Go home. Oh, you guys are all saying go home. Go see your human. I appreciate that. Okay, so I think that these are all the questions. Juicy Vegan said, not to sound like a heathen, but can you not tithe 1 month? Hope that isn't rude to suggest. It's not rude to suggest. I do understand that. But tithing, much like child support, is the way that I maintain a level of integrity with myself and my beliefs and my philosophy. So I don't just like believe in God. I feel like the stuff that you believe in shows up in your behavior and your actions, right? And so tithing is a spiritual practice that allows me to be able to honor that particular belief that I have in God. Much like child support is a practice that allows me to be able to honor my role and responsibility as a child. So I don't think that it's rude at all. I do understand that a lot of people don't share my beliefs and don't share the idea of tithing. But there are so many principles associated with tithing or giving in general, even if you don't want to call it a tithe, but giving in general, and abundance in money. And next to budgeting, right? Like if somebody was like, oh, what do you think was the factor? Next to budgeting, I would say that it's tithing. Because what happens, and I talk about this in the Money Mindset Manual, is that when you give emotionally, psychologically, physically, spiritually, however you want to look at it, you are signaling to yourself that you have enough to give. And when you're signaling to yourself that you have enough to give, it's automatically shifting you into a mindset of abundance. When you're in that mindset of abundance, it's more likely that you will play out your life as an abundant person. So it's an outer expression of an inner state and set point, and what you put out comes back, right? Every thought matters. Whether you're looking at it from a spiritual perspective, a law of attraction perspective, or whatever perspective, people who give tend to be more abundant than people who do not give, because it is an act of saying I have more than enough. And when you say you have more than enough, you tend to have more than enough. So let's see. Okay, I'm trying to see. Just trying to see if there are any more questions in this one before we pop over to appreciate you guys talking the trip home with my son. You'll see in these 2 budget report cards. Listen, you shall see. Okay. Carolyn said, are we going to see videos from you once a month? No, there should be more videos. One of the team members that I hired is a video editor, because that's where that's where the bottleneck is happening. It's like I'm recording the footage, I just don't have the time to edit and put it up. So I have a video editor now, so those videos should be coming up. So yes. IE Presents said, discipline, persistence, aligning our behavior with our values makes us more of who we are. Money doesn't do anything we don't tell it to do. Right, but money reflects all of the things that you're not aligning with. So like what you're saying is that money doesn't make us more of who we are, but where we spend our money is a reflection of who we think we are, right? Like this apartment is something that I spend my money on. It's a reflection of who I am. It gives the impression that I'm a minimalist, but I'm not a minimalist. I'm just very intentional, and I like things cozy. This is more of me, because even with more money, I'm not wanting to move into an expansive place. So I think maybe the way that you're hearing it is maybe a little bit more severe than my intent. My idea is that because money touches everything, it is a reflection of who you are. When you have more of it, you will see more of the things that you want to touch. When I have more money, I'm just becoming more generous. You don't see me buying anything different than what I bought before, right? Like I'm still buying the same great food at the same great quality. Like it's just more of the same. So that's what I mean there. Money does a lot. Like a lot of people who would like to believe that money doesn't do anything, they have a really unhealthy relationship with money, and that will probably be reflected in their life. Money does a lot. It's like denying money is like denying air. It's like it's so obvious that air is an abundance and an existence that sometimes we take it for granted. We do that with money too. We're like, oh, money is not that important. It's not that big of a deal. It's like, really? Have you looked around? Right? And this is not about if you're into consumerism or no. This is just, have you looked around for how we exchange things? Like that's the tool that we use to exchange things. So, yep. April J. February is the first month I started the debt snowball steps. Awesome, awesome. I Presents it. We have to remember we are not financially free or secure yet. Until we are both debt free and in the habit of managing our money well, we are not in a place to level up our lifestyles. I would disagree. I'm financially secure. I'm not financially free, but I'm financially secure. So I have restored my financial dignity and I'm financially secure. I just am not financially free. Financially free to me will be when I'm 100% debt free, but I'm financially secure. But I agree, we should not be leveling up our lifestyles. But I think when the question was posed to me, I think they were thinking about more of like the future. But even when I'm financially free, I'm probably just gonna still enjoy my home here. Yep. Savings minus debt equals your real money. Risha said, good morning, Stacey. Love your rap. Thank you. Thank you. KG6559. I did not share my new speaker feed, but listen, guys. It's amazing. It's amazing. Okay. So I think that is all the questions that we have in this one. I'm going to switch over to the new video and grab those questions, and then I will leave you to your Saturday. Who's excited? This face is excited. Very, very excited. I just wanted to go directly to the video, but it wouldn't take me. Hold on, let me see. All right, questions. Okay, KG6559. Hi, Stacey. Copying some of my questions over here in case you lost them. Okay, awesome sauce. TC Life. I didn't see where you accounted for spending money. Did I miss it? No, I didn't account for spending money because that'll be in the budget when I go home, as opposed to giving myself like a separate pocket money budget. KG65, when you purchase clothes for your speaking engagement, is that considered a business expense? No, and you guys will see that coming out of my February budget, because I booked, I don't even know how many speaking engagements, and usually within like a week or two of booking the speaking engagement, well, I won't say that, not of booking the speaking engagement, but of securing the deposit, then I pull like my outfit and all that stuff together. And I talked to my my accountant about it, and she said that that's not something that we can business expense, because I can wear those clothes in my regular life. So I believe in the budget report card for February, you guys will see that I spent some money on some clothes. So yes, which is, I'm happy with what I did, because you know I have these speaking engagements coming up, but it's kind of intense. Kind of intense, but the clothes are cute, so I'll be really cute on stage. Like, I'm really looking forward to my Canada outfit. I don't know if you guys saw the outfit that I wore in Fort Myers, but it was super cute. So KG6559, even with all of your speaking engagement, is your income staying at 5K to allocate for higher business expenses? Yes. It's because I want to have enough money in my business savings account to cover the salaries of all 5 people in my company for at least 3 months. So let's just say I pay somebody in my company $1,000 a month. That means I want to have $3,000 in my business savings account set aside that doesn't need to be touched, that I can pay this person. Just in case there's a month that comes in where I'm not earning or something like that, like I want to have that. So I have 5 people working for me right now, and I do not have a full savings reserve of salary for them yet. So until that's there, I'm going to be very conservative with the personal income that I give myself. And the reason for that is because my business is growing exponentially and I need these people, but that doesn't necessarily mean that every single month I'm going to bring in the salary to cover these expenses. I mean, I'll bring in something, but you know what I mean? Like, I want to be safe, because I want to be secure. I don't want to have people working for me and then I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, I can't pay you this month. I don't want that at all. So once that reserve is taken care of, there'll be a little bit more money that flows back into my net income. But then also hosting live events, it costs more to put on a live event. The return is amazing, but it costs more to put on a live event. And so some money is also set aside for those events. And then there are just some other business expenses that I kind of just didn't have before that I have now. Because of the growth, but predominantly it's with me having additional people in my company and me wanting to make sure that I can pay them their salary. Like, I could probably bump my salary up a little bit higher, but again, I'd rather be on the side of being conservative with me, so that way I can lay a really good foundation for the company. Because if the foundation in the company is good, when the return on investment starts coming back, I mean, it's gonna be mind blowing, and I'm gonna be comfortable emotionally. Because that's the other thing, it's like making these decisions so that I don't emotionally like fall apart is really important as well. Yep. KG6559, your New York Times best-selling book. Yes. I'm very excited about that. Yeah, I'm very excited. But like, say for example, once we finalize that contract, right? Like, when I get the advance for my book, then that money, yes, technically comes into my company, right? Like, that money comes into my company, but it's an advance, which means that even if they give me this advance, I still have to sell those copies of my book. So I have to be mindful about money that comes in before work is complete, right? So yeah. But yeah, when I get that advance, it's gonna be nice. It's gonna be wonderful. But yes, that's a great for example. And then because I'm going with a major publishing house, there'll be the way that I'll be compensated for my book will be in advance and then royalties versus actually making money per book that's sold. I mean, I make money per book that's sold, but I'll get a royalty per book that's sold versus if the book is $20, I'm not pocketing $20 because I'm going with the major publishing house. And so they will absorb some of that money to cover the expenses that they put up front to produce the book. Emily Braun said, how do you budget for variable income? How do you start when you still have to pay bills this month? So the way that I budget for variable income, and this doesn't necessarily come from my entrepreneurial days, it comes from when I was a server. So what I do is I figure out how much money I make each week, or however the money comes in. I figure out how much money I make each week, or I take that exact amount. So maybe it's 300, 500, 700, and 300. I add that all up and I divide it by 4, and I take that average and I say to myself, okay, this is the average amount that you are going to make in a month. Obviously, if you just add the number up, that number is going to be higher. Let me see. So like, excuse me. So say I did 300 plus 500 the next week plus 700 plus 300, right? So that totals 1,800. That doesn't sound right. 300 plus 500 plus 700 plus 300. Okay, so that totals $1,800, but I'll divide that by 4. No, I won't. Well, how do you find average? Yeah, that's 4, right? No. How do you find average? Do I not know how to do math? How do you find the average? Yes, you divide it by the number, right? Yes. Hold on, let me make sure I'm thinking this right. 300 the first week, 500 the second week, 700 the next week, and 300 the final week. Means I brought home $1,800 that month. Oh, that's what, okay, I'm sorry. Okay, that's what it is. So what I will do is the average of 3 months, and that's what it is. Okay, I'm like, it's definitely not 450. So say in January, I made $1,800. Then let's say in February, I made $1,350. And then let's say in March, I made $1,200, right? So I'll take those 3 months of income, the exact amount that I made, and then I'll divide that by 3, and my average amount that I'm making is $450. Now obviously inside of that there's 1 month that I made a little less, there's another month where I made a lot more, but my average over 3 months of irregular income is $450. What I will do is do my budget based off of my average income. So when I'm setting up my cash flow and it's asking me for my income, I'll do it based on my average, which is $1,450. And then I'll do all the math to equal 0 at $1,450. Now, let's just say I'm in a winning month and I actually bring in $2,000 instead of the $1,450. Dave Ramsey has another form that's called the irregular income for spending form, where like the $1,450 is 0 based, and if I make $2,000, then I made $550 over what I originally budgeted. On that form, you can say, okay, if I make over this amount, these are the 3 things that I'm gonna do. This is the 1 thing, this is the 2 thing, this is the 3 thing. What I did just to simplify it for myself is that I just figure out what my average is, and that's just what I pay myself. So the same way that I came to paying myself $5,000, like of all the money that I make in a month, I said, okay, of all the money that you make in a month and all the money that you have going out, what is the average amount that you could pay yourself comfortably? Like, and for me, comfort is very, very important because I have to balance my mental and emotional health. So I said, okay, minimum, comfortably, I can pay myself $5,000 a month with no sweat off my brow. So that is how much money I'm gonna pay myself net each month. I could pay myself well over that, but I'm being conservative intentionally so that I can lay this foundation for my company. So for me, anything extra over $5,000, I let that stay in my business account, and I just let that account just keep growing and growing and growing. But that's how I do it, is I find my average and then I budget my average. And then if I have 3 consistent months where it's like, okay, now really it went from it's 2,000, 2,000, 2,000, so it's really another bump, then I'll give myself a little bit of a salary increase. But for me, minimum 3 months of how much I'm making will help me to be able to figure out like what I'm doing. And then if I'm ever earning under, then I know I can just challenge myself to just boost it a little bit more because it's the average. Hope that helps. If not, ask me again and I'll try to answer it differently. You should look for stuff for your flight. Yes. The coolest life. What do you think about using Cash App or Venmo cards as primary cards to receive paychecks and spend? No, I think you should use a checking account. And the reason for that is because as an adult, you need to know how to use a checking account. And while Venmo and Cash App are convenient, that's what it is. It's not even as an adult. It's because Venmo and Cash App are so convenient. Sometimes when things are convenient, we are not clear on what we're doing and we are actually not as responsible. So it's way easier to send somebody $20 from your Cash App than it is to send somebody $20 from your checking account. You want to know why? Because your checking account feels like yours and your responsibility. Your Cash App is like, oh, it's just easy. I can pop this over here. You can pop it over to me and we can pop, 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 pop. Convenience, when you don't already have healthy money management skills in place, becomes a problem to you building wealth and managing money well. And Cash App and Venmo are way, way, way too convenient for the average person who's trying to manage money. Yep, that's why. Emily Braun, I use Christian Media Share too. Okay, Christian Healthcare Ministry, yep. How do you report this for your taxes? I just learned to meet the Affordable Care Act requirements, but not for the IRS. What's a girl to do? I'm not for sure. I haven't filed my taxes yet. So last year is the first year that I used it. So I will get back to you to see. But my best guess is they should send you a form. I feel like it should be. I feel like it should qualify. Like the reason I started using it is because Jenna Kutcher, she's a millionaire and she uses it, and she has never said that she's had any tax implication or tax problems with using Christian Healthcare Ministry for her insurances. So I don't know. I would talk to an accountant to figure out why that's not qualifying under the Affordable Healthcare Act requirement. I do paper budget to use every. Okay. Angela Godwin said, so that you have additional support when you go to your hometown, can you do a coffee meetup? I understand about not wanting to stay in your hometown for a period of time. No. No. I'm not ready for meetups in my hometown. Like when I'm in my hometown, I usually don't even tell like anyone that I'm there because I want to be invisible, like completely invisible. So I'm not ready for a meetup in my hometown, but hopefully sometime by the end of the year. You know, I was born and raised in Omaha. There's so many good, beautiful, awesome things that came out of Omaha. Good, great, amazing people in Omaha, but I'm not ready to interact with my Omaha peeps. So, yes. Janae said, you're not the only 20-something. I'm 22. I'm learning so much from Stacey is the reason I even decided to make debt emotional to me so I could get it down. Yay, 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 yay. Dorinda Nicole, just saying, hey, glad I could catch some of the live. Hello, I miss your face. I miss you. TC Life, sorry to repeat myself about spending money, but wasn't sure if you would get to the question from the live. Yep, no worries. Marquita Walker, congratulations on you opting to let your son live with his father and work through the stigma of not being the primary caregiver. Thank you very much. Dorinda Nicole said, completely off topic, but where's your sweatshirt from? I love the sleeves. I got this sweatshirt from Akira, I believe, and it's a crop top. Like, I feel like, can I stand up? I don't know if you can. I don't know if you wouldn't be able to see it if I stood up, but yeah, I love it. Like it's like it has that soft fluffiness on the inside. I don't know if you can see that, but it's like soft and fluffy on the inside, and it's like loose but still like makes you look great. Yeah, I love it. Shop Akira is where I got it from. KG6559 said, also meant to ask if things like shellac nails are business expenses because of physical appearance of speaking engagements. Yes. So all of that is on the business expense side. Yep. Which I think is really interesting because I'm like, but I use my nails in my regular life. And she was just like, it's not the same thing. I was like, well, okay. All right. Yep. KG6559 said, you look so vibrant and glowing today. I'm loving the turban. Thank you very much. I feel very vibrant and glowing. I feel very, I'm very happy. Like, I am feeling all my feelings, and I think that I'm happy to be feeling my feelings. Like, this week was a rough week. Last week was rough. This week was rough, like, emotionally. But, like, I feel all my feelings now. Like, I don't know how to explain to people how significant that is, that like when I say I feel all of my feelings, like when somebody actually hurts my feelings, I feel that in the moment. It's not a delayed reaction, and that feels so freaking good. And you know, last week was hard emotionally, and this week was hard emotionally because of work. So like you know, with me writing my book, and I had a podcast go live that turned into like so many speaking engagements coming in, and then me making more money in one speaking engagement than I could imagine. So like there's a lot of emotional stuff with that, but I'm feeling all of that. Like there's not a single emotion that I am not feeling. And I think that what you're seeing in my face is I'm not happy to feel the sad emotions. Like grief sucks, betrayal sucks. Yeah, like betrayal came up, guys. Betrayal, like I actually felt betrayed. Was it this last week? And I was like, oh, is this betrayal? Like, yes, that's betrayal. So like there is, you know, but like to feel that, I'm like, I am a living, breathing, healthy human being because I'm feeling it, man. I'm feeling all of the feelings, and to have a range and to have a vocabulary for it, it sucks. And some days I am very much curled up in my bed, but today, getting up, I was like, listen, I'm going to Canada next week. Like what is this life? Like what in the world? Like, you know, so yeah, so that's probably why you're seeing the glow, is that I am genuinely like so happy, and the bulk of that happiness is coming from feeling all of my feelings, right? Like every single one of them, the ones that suck, the ones that are awesome, and just being present. Like I think that that's what you guys are seeing is presence, right? So remember a couple months ago when I was like in the thick of my grief and I was like, yeah, you know, I don't know how I'm feeling. Like that's real. Like, and so even though, you know, there's still grief there, like it feels good to be at this leg of the grief where I can be present to my experiences again. So I think that that's a little bit of what you guys are noticing, but thank you. I do feel very glowy, and I did my wrap a little wider this time because I felt like it looked a little bit more regal. So I was like, oh, come through, scarf. Let's make this happen. So yes, thank you. I'll say that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Marquita Walker, law of attraction plays a huge role in what we attract into our life. Excellent answer with the tide. Yep, absolutely. Tyari said, I'm with you on giving. The more you tithe, give, the more Almighty God blesses you. More than I ever knew was possible. God multiplies our offering. We don't lose anything. It comes back. Yeah. And here's the thing. Like I had always been taught about the tithes, and I had always tithed, but it really wasn't until my last relationship that I understood the value of giving. Like this man is the most generous human being on the planet. Okay? On the planet. And genuinely a generous person, genuinely a giver, and witnessing him give, I was like, what is this magical land that you live in where there's just more than enough all the time, where there's just, and he was just like, you know, my father owns everything, like God owns everything, like I'm a steward. Like he was very, like he was responsible, right? Like he managed his money, but he was very like, I am the steward of this, and so if there's a need, I am going to give. And I would just be like, you are dead serious. So he helped me to give at a level of generosity that I never even imagined was possible, because he was like, he is so generous and so giving, and like to be able to witness that, like forever changed me. Like I will always be, as I will, generosity will be a tenet of my life. It'll be a practice of my life. Giving, I mean, I was always a giver, but now I feel like, especially once my debt is cleared, like I will move into the realm of actually being a fully blown generous person financially. Like I think I'm very generous with like my words and my gifts and my talent and my time. Like what, we've been on here for about an hour. The last one was 9. So I try to be generous in the other ways, because financially the goal is to get out of debt. But like witnessing a genuinely generous person changes you. Like I was like, you are a freaking angel on this. Like who are you? Who made you? Where do you hail from? Like I just had never seen anything like that before. And it's not like specific, right? It wasn't that he was just generous with me. No, generous, period. And he always had more, and it wasn't just that he always had more than enough. I just was like, what is this land that you live in where there is no lack? Like, I don't understand that. And, you know, when he would express it, he would be like, well, you know, my father owns everything, so just do it what he tells me to do with it. And I was just like, huh, all right. Let's see. KG 6559. Will you? I think it popped me. Will you continue to document your financial journey even after you're financially free? I would love to continue watching you as you navigate life without debt. So exciting. Yes, what I realize that I have to find is I have to find a why, right? So my initial why for a level of accountability, that won't sustain me when I'm debt free, because I won't need you guys to hold me accountable to building wealth. So I do need to find a why, and the why could be just as simple as, like, I still want to be generous with my community, but I just need to sit down and think of a good enough why, because otherwise I won't be able to make the time for it. And you guys can kind of see that now. The why that I had originally for accountability is now being, that why still exists, and that's why you guys still get the Budget With Me lives. But that why is not carrying me through making the grocery videos and making the food videos and making those videos, because the why that I have now, because I'm like, well, listen, we had 160. Let's do the other work so that you can, you know what I mean? It's like I'm so much more driven by the felt sense of wanting to quickly get it done, that now I'm like, oh, well, I could make more if I do this versus doing a video. And I don't really want that to be a factor, but because I'm so close to the end, I'm like, oh, let me just hurry up and get rid of it. And so I'm trying to manage my why for why I'm showing up and sharing the content, and the why is still there, the accountability. But if you guys notice, like, I've scaled back to just what you guys are holding me accountable to. Everything else is extra. So I don't need you guys to hold me accountable to my food. That's why it's harder for me to get out a food video, even though that is the video that you guys love. So I have to get back to a why I would share my food and my wealth building, and I have to find that. So yeah, my intent is to do it because I love doing these videos, but the why has to be so, like, stirring in my soul that no matter what, it gets up. That's why, for example, these Budget With Me lives, even when I'm in the thick of, like, I can't get out of bed, I'm like, I'll just turn on the camera and show you guys my hands, because the why for you guys holding me accountable to this debt-free journey is so great that I'm willing to get up and do whatever it takes to get that content out. So yeah, because I would love to see it too. I would love to see what it looks like for me to build wealth publicly. And I think, but I wonder if sharing would change. Like, yeah, I don't know. But yes. Ashley said, add all the numbers up and divide by the number. Yes. Carolina O said, hello, Stacey. I'm enjoying this live. I was able to make my debt goal earlier than March, so I'm officially debt-free February 18th. Yay! Are you so excited? Oh my gosh! Congratulations. That is so awesome. Congratulations. I am super stoked for you. Like, that is incredible. I'm so excited for you. So excited for you. That is, yes, that is what it is about. That is what it is about. Yes, 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 and more yes. The coolest life. How early should someone seek help from an accountant or financial advisor? Should we continue with budgets until we can financially and emotionally bring one on board? I think that that is a good question. I wonder, I don't know, if you're an entrepreneur, get an accountant as soon as possible. If you work for someone else, I think that you would do well to just learn how to manage your money on your own. One of the things that Oprah talks about is that she still writes her own checks. So I think sometimes people think that bringing on an accountant means that they don't have to do the heavy lifting in their money. And you don't want to do that, because that's how you get played. And that's how people lose all of their money and stuff like that. So I would say if you work for someone else and you're making a paycheck, then you should just be learning how to budget on your own, and then bring in an accountant and a financial advisor when the money that you're bringing in needs more support of allocating for investments and wealth building and stuff like that. If you're an entrepreneur, bring on an accountant as soon as possible, so that way you can truly separate your personal and professional and business finances and get that done right. But good question. The Doe Patrol, I'm debt free. I have always been debt free. I'm 48. I have a mortgage. However, that is $14.45 a month, and I only bring home $3,000 a month. I drive an old 2000 Jeep and keep it simple. That's awesome. The Dole Patrol. By the way, you look so much better and glowing like the other YouTuber said. Thank you. I feel better, guys. I feel better. Like, this is why we gotta have great, amazing, super fantastic support in our life. If I did not have a therapist, I would still be in a very more challenging place. Like, don't get me wrong, like, my heart is still like so tender. But you know, like, I can do other things, like, you know what I mean? So yeah, but thank you. I feel good about feeling good again. And Tony L. Smith said, please don't forget to do the rap video. Hair is emotional. Yes, I can actually, what I can do is maybe when I pop off, just pop on the camera and do a rap video with, and just redo this one here, so that way we don't forget, and I can get that over to my video editor, and then we can get these things out, so that you can have that ASAP. Yes. Doing to Nicole, doing a dance for you. You out here getting it. Insert 2000 club dance. I love it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. TC Life, just to put a label to an emotion is amazing. After years of dissociative disorder, it's great. Even though the journey was rough, congratulations on the hard work, right? Yes. So I don't have dissociative disorder, but I have PTSD, and my primary coping mechanism is to disassociate. So that's why, like, when I say I'm here right now, like, the presence that you guys are seeing, this is rare. Okay? Like, this is rare given the level of severity of my PTSD, and I didn't know it. And so now that I know it and I have feelings, I'm like, oh, this feeling sucks, I'm hurting. And then I'm like, wait a minute, I'm hurting. It sucks. Like, there's way more that goes into it, but like, yes, when you've spent most of your life disassociated from your feelings, because I'm in a trauma state, when you actually feel feelings, even when they're bad, you're like, listen, come on, bad maybe not come on, but you're like, okay, bad feelings, you can be here, and I will, because it's like, it makes me feel human, it makes me feel alive. And I'm like, when I was in a trauma state, that fight or flight, like, you might as well, for me, it's like, you might as well be dead. Like, I was just so numb. So yes, being able to identify a feeling and feel it, like, to feel the betrayal, I was like, I am betrayed. I have been betrayed. Like, this is betrayal. Like, I was like, it was fascinating. It sucked. It sucks still, but I was like, I know it's like, when something is happening to you and you don't know what it is and you don't have language for it, it makes it worse, because you feel like a crazy person because your insides don't match. Excuse me. I feel like a crazy person because my insides don't match my outsides. But being able to be betrayed and then feel it in my soul and know that that's what it is allows me to be able to say, oh, well, now that you know what this is, these are the things that you can do about it. If you don't know what it is, you can't identify the source, you have no idea what to do. So it's like, it gave me so much, it's like I have my power back. Like, all of these years been trying to control all this stuff. You don't have to control nothing. You just need your power. Like, and I mean, I know that that's a little on the nose for what I'm going to be talking about at the Rise, but my point is, it's like, when you really have personal power, you don't need to control anything. And I spent so much of my life trying to control everything all the time because I was petrified and I couldn't figure out why I didn't feel the way I thought I should feel, and I didn't feel my life as it was happening to me. It's a sucky place to be in, and I just am so grateful that I'm not in that place anymore. Buttercup Bunny said, kind of a silly question, but since you go to other countries, do you plan for travelers insurance, or is that covered by the insurances you already have? You know, I don't plan for travelers insurance. That is something to look into. I do not. And I do travel to other countries. I'll probably be going to Kenya and Rwanda and Nigeria this year. So, yeah, I definitely need to look into that. You're right. Well, that is something to think about, Buttercup. Thank you very much. The Dole Patrol, I'm an accountant. If you guys have questions, I'm on Twitter under this name, which has nothing to do with my career choice at this time. Okay. Angela Goodwin, loving the head wrap, beautiful. Thank you very much. Tyari said, you are giving so much through your journey. Your openness and transparency is refreshing and helpful. You inspire me beyond words. Yay. Ashley, it's the same reason you plan on giving when you get out of debt is why you should keep providing other content videos and why of it. Yeah, indeed. Yep. Ashley, those videos weren't a means to an end, but an important part of the process. It's all relevant, and I don't want you to lose that. I agree. I agree. Okay, so I 100% agree. I think the challenge now is that my lip gloss has turned into that. I think the challenge now is prioritizing, right? So I agree that those videos are a part of the process, but I have to prioritize my time and energy. Hold on, I have to get that off of it's weird for me. I don't like when my lip gloss does that. I have to prioritize my time and energy, and if I don't have a why that pushes me or gives me, not pushes me, if I don't have a why that clarifies it, that this is the priority over something else, then it's hard. It's harder for me to do it. It's not that it's harder. It's like, it's just how I set my priorities. So I guess that's what I mean. It's just like, I want it to be a priority, and I know what I'm missing is a why. Okay, there's the thing. So everybody has different motivations. Everybody has different things that drive them. Some people are driven by what? Like, once they know what they want, they'll do anything, right? Some people are driven by how. Once they know how, they can do anything. Some people are driven by worst case scenario. Like, if they're trying to avoid a worst case scenario, it'll drive them to do anything. I am driven by why. If I don't understand why, and it doesn't resonate with me, like at a level that like clarifies things, then it's like I can't. It's like pulling teeth to get me to do something. And I've always been that way. Like one of my college essays when I was applying for grad school was, I'm my mother's why child. That was my opening sentence, was that I'm my mother's why child. Why child? Because I could not be moved without understanding why. And even though I can see the value of the videos, and even though the value to me, the value to other people, the why for continuing to document is what helps me to be able to deal with the criticism, right? Is to deal with the level of privacy that I would potentially be giving up. It's to deal with the scrutiny. It's to deal with all of that stuff, right? Like, that why has to be able to cover me on those things. And as I'm making this transition, making sure that why does that is my point there. But I agree that these videos are definitely not a means to an end in any way, shape, or form. But it's the continuing process of like, okay, what's the why? Yep. Michaela, I think it's Michaela Littlefoot, please look into the traveler's insurance. I have a friend who got ill in another country. A family had to raise $25K to fly her back. Okay. All right. Wendy Cooper Fleming, will you be at Rise in San Diego? Yes, I will be at Rise in San Diego. I'm super excited. That will be the first round stage that I will have ever spoken on. I've never spoken on a stage that has a 360 degree angle. I'm very excited about it. Ashley S, listening to you talk, I think you've outgrown those videos, and if that's the case, I support you not doing them. Be honest to your heart and don't overthink it, Stacey. Indeed. I don't know about outgrown them, but we'll see. I think that there's a thing too that, like, you guys will notice is that, like, when I share stuff, I usually share what I know that I'm talking about, right? So a lot of the videos about food that I would be sharing now, I'm just experimenting. And so I hesitate sometimes to share food videos because I don't want to be like, oh, this is what I ate today, and I'm just trying to show you guys what I ate, and then somebody tries to eat that and it's not right. So that's the other thing that I'm dealing with, is that learning how to eat for this calorie intake and this output and all that stuff. I'm really learning it. And because the way that I speak with such authority, I don't want anybody to think that this is a video of advice. I need you to understand, like, no, this is a video of me learning. Like, I could be wrong. This could be poor intake. But the way that I talk, it sounds like advice, and then people implement it. And so I think that that's a little bit, I don't necessarily think I've outgrown it. I think it's more so, I don't want to say I'm doing this and then people do it and it'd be wrong. And I haven't done it long enough to know if it's right. Whereas a lot of the other stuff, I've done that long enough to know if it's right. Like I know what colors, I know how I like to dress, so I can do a capsule wardrobe. Even if I'm figuring out how to shop, I can still put the clothes together. Like, I eat oatmeal, I eat beans. So it's like, it's a different sort of a thing where when you show people what you do and then they do it, there's a responsibility maybe that I'm carrying with that. That's a little bit like heavier. So yeah. Tari said, I'm driven by my why too. If I don't know why, I won't understand or get it done. It doesn't make sense. Yeah, like if I don't understand why, like I cannot be moved. Cannot be moved. Like it does, the whole house could be on fire. And if I'm not clear that the reason why you need to get out of this burning house is because you're like, if I don't know why, you cannot get me to do anything without me understanding why. Now, that doesn't mean you always have to tell me why. Sometimes I can just process it on my own and figure it out. But I cannot be moved. Cannot. No matter what. The Fabulous 202, you are seriously glowing this morning. Why, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. April J, or the why could be how to stay out of debt with this new financial freedom. If I'm correct, you can use your past experience or what you will do differently this time. Indeed, indeed. The 42, fix best advice for moving past the block of where you are versus where you know you can be. This is our last question. The best advice for moving past the block of where you are versus where you know you can be. The best advice for moving past the block. Okay, my best advice for moving past the block of where you are versus where you know you can be. Commit to doing the small things that are going to get you there. You're probably blocked because you're waiting for that one big thing that you can do that will put you over there. And you have to accept that it's going to be 1,000 small things that are going to get you over there. So you're blocked because you're waiting for the one thing. There is no one thing. There are 1,000 small things. So commit to the 1,000 small things and take those 1,000 small steps, and then you'll get there. That would be my advice. Yep. That would be my advice. Is to commit to the 1,000 small steps that it's going to take to get over there. And then you'll get over there. Ooh, uh-oh. All right. Beautiful, fantastic, super spectacular, amazing people. That is all that I have for you on this glorious Saturday, the leap year, last day of the month. Thank you so much for tuning in. I will talk to you all very, very soon. Bye-bye.